The evening air in downtown Nashville was crisp, the kind that made people pull their jackets a little tighter as they moved through the streets. Outside the historic Davidson Town Hall, a crowd had gathered, their voices blending into a steady hum of conversation and debate. The event, a political town hall with a focus on the upcoming election, had drawn dozens of Trump supporters, men and women of all ages, wearing red caps, waving banners, and engaging in passionate discussions about the state of the country. It was the kind of crowd where Taylor Swift would have been the last person anyone expected to see. Yet, there she was, wrapped in a neutral-toned coat, a baseball cap pulled low over her blonde curls. She moved carefully toward the edge of the gathering, blending in just enough to avoid immediate recognition. But it didn't take long for murmurs to spread. A couple of young women spotted her first, their eyes widening as they exchanged whispers. Then, an older man wearing a faded "Make America Great Again" hat turned, his gaze locking onto her. "Wait a minute," he muttered to the woman beside him. "Is that Taylor Swift?" The energy in the crowd shifted. Some people craned their necks, others whispered to one another, while a few simply stared, waiting to see what would happen next. Taylor, for her part, remained composed. She had come here for a reason, not to cause a scene, not to pick a fight, but to listen. The moment stretched longer than she had anticipated. Then, finally, a man in his late 30s, wearing a navy windbreaker and a Trump 2024 t-shirt, stepped forward. His expression was a mix of curiosity and skepticism. "Well," he said, folding his arms, "didn't expect to see you here." Taylor met his gaze, her posture relaxed but unwavering. "I know," she admitted with a small, self-aware smile. "But I wanted to understand." Silence. Then the man let out a short chuckle, shaking his head. "Understand what exactly?" Taylor took a breath. "Why people support him, what you see in him, what I might not be seeing." And just like that, what had begun as a moment of quiet tension turned into something far more unexpected, a conversation that no one had seen coming. In the ice. The crowd still hovered in an uneasy limbo, unsure of what to make of Taylor's presence. Some people looked on with suspicion, others with genuine curiosity. It was no secret where she stood politically. Her public statements, her music, even her voting records made it clear that she had firmly positioned herself against Trump's policies. So why was she here? A woman in her 50s, holding a Women for Trump sign, tilted her head. "You really want to hear what we think?" she asked, her tone measured, testing. Taylor nodded. "I wouldn't be here otherwise." The younger man in the windbreaker smirked. "All right then, let's start with this. Why do you think we support Trump?" Taylor hesitated, knowing that anything she said could easily be taken the wrong way. "I think you feel like he stands up for people who don't get a fair deal," she said carefully. "That he says things other politicians won't. That he fights for what he believes in, no matter the backlash." A murmur ran through the group. Some nodded subtly, while others kept their expressions guarded. The woman with the sign crossed her arms. "And why do you think that's a bad thing?" Taylor sighed. "I don't think having convictions is bad. But I worry about the division, about how we talk past each other instead of to each other." The older man in the MAGA hat, who had been silent until now, finally spoke up. His voice was rough, like someone who had spent years working with his hands. "We're tired of being told we're the problem," he said. "Everywhere we go, people like you, Hollywood, the media, the music industry, you tell us we're racist, we're ignorant, we're hateful, but we're just trying to live our lives." Taylor absorbed his words, nodding slowly. "I can see how that would feel unfair," she admitted. "And maybe I haven't always done the best job of making room for conversations like this." The crowd shifted again, this time not out of hostility, but contemplation. Taylor Swift, standing in front of them, wasn't arguing. She wasn't attacking. She was listening. And that, more than anything, caught them off guard. Finding common ground. What started as an awkward standoff began to morph into something different. The conversation deepened, moving from sound bites to real experiences. People began sharing stories, not about politics, but about life. A middle-aged woman spoke about her struggles as a single mother trying to make ends meet. A retired veteran shared his frustration with how he felt his service had been devalued by political elites. A young man voiced his fears about cancel culture, about how expressing certain opinions could cost him friendships, jobs, opportunities. And Taylor listened. At one point, the woman with the Women for Trump sign turned to her. "You've made it clear where you stand," she said. "But has this changed how you see us?" Taylor exhaled. "It's changed how I understand you." The woman raised an eyebrow. "That's something, at least." The younger man in the windbreaker smirked. "Maybe we're not so different after all, huh?" Taylor smiled. "Maybe not." And then, just when it seemed like the night had reached its most unexpected turn, another voice interrupted. "The final challenge." "Taylor?" A young woman had arrived, wearing a blue hoodie with Swifties for Biden printed across the front. She had her phone out, recording. "What are you doing here?" Taylor turned to her, her expression unreadable. "Talking." The girl blinked, glancing between Taylor and the Trump supporters. "Why?" she asked, incredulous. "Why are you talking to them?" The group tensed. Some folded their arms, others exchanged looks of disappointment, expecting Taylor to backpedal. But she didn't. "Because they deserve to be heard," she said simply. The young woman frowned. "But they don't agree with you." Taylor shrugged. "Neither do you, apparently." A beat of silence. Then, unexpectedly, the older man in the MAGA hat let out a deep laugh. "She's got you there, kid." The young woman hesitated, looking at Taylor as if seeing her for the first time. Then, slowly, she lowered her phone. The moment had shifted again. The night wore on, the conversation continuing in small pockets, quieter now, less charged. Taylor had come expecting resistance, but what she found was something far more meaningful. A rare moment of dialogue in a world that too often thrived on division. As she left the gathering, a voice called out behind her. "Hey, Taylor!" She turned. It was the man in the windbreaker. "Next time," he said, grinning, "bring a guitar." Taylor chuckled. "Next time, you buy the drinks." And with that, she disappeared into the night. A pop star, a crowd of Trump supporters, and a conversation neither side had expected.